Welcome to my list fairy. Today we're doing another tier list. Roll the intro. Today we're doing champions and sages. I did something kinda similar to this. I did sages, vows, and champions abilities as a tier list, but today we're analyzing the characters. Who they are, how much I like them, how fleshed out and developed I felt they were on their games, and I have all of the champions and sages, obviously, including Zelda, who is technically the Sage of Time in Tears of the Kingdom. Disclaimer, I'm sorry I sound like this, I've been sick all week. You're just gonna have to deal with this voice, I'm sorry. That's just how I sound. Okay, so we're gonna start with Revali. Revali is an interesting one because, yes, he's a bit of a jerk, but I feel like he is probably the most well-written and layered character out of this entire list, with the exception of Zelda. But he is just very well written, and it's very clear once you start watching the cutscenes, including the DLC, that he is the way he is for a reason, and his behavior is layered and justified in his mind, and that he's not actually a bad person. Bird? I'm tempted to an S tier here, to be completely honest, but I'm just wondering, because there are a few characters coming later that I actually would rate above Revali, so I'm actually gonna put him on A. Only because I think he's an amazing character, and like I said, better written than a lot of the other characters here, but it's just because it's gonna feel weird having him on the same tier as a few other characters, so that's the only reason why he's not on S. Next we have Tulin. Tulin is something. I think Tulin is adorable and I love him, but I have this eternal bitterness that Teba isn't the Sage of Wind, and that could be a me issue. It's not necessarily Tulin's fault, but I felt like that was the natural progression between Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. It would have been Teba being the Sage, but you know, it is what it is. He is a good character. I like the storyline. I like how he wants to prove himself and how he's like proactive and just very excited to be there. I don't think he had the time to be as developed as some of the others, because he's only a little bird. He's only a chicken nugget. So I'm gonna put him on B, because I do like him, but I have that thing where like I don't think he necessarily should have been the Sage. And even just comparing him with Revali, like the character development is so different. So I can't put him on the same category as a character like Revali. Next is Mipha. Mipha is incredible. I think Mipha has amazing character development. I think she is a bit honed in to a specific storyline, in the sense that her character is very much there as the character who's in love with Link. I wish she had a bit more, but you do also get her relationship with Sidon, especially in the DLC. And I think generally speaking, she's a great character. She's just the cutest thing. She's kind, she's sweet. She isn't like the strongest, but she's strong where it counts, if that makes sense. And I think she's great. Do I put her? I don't know if I'm gonna put her on S. I think I'm gonna have to put her on A. Basically the same reason why Revali's here. She could easily be an S tier character, but there's a few characters that I feel more strongly about, so I need the S tier for those. That's the only reason, because, I mean, A tier is pretty good. It's pretty good. You can't really complain. Love Mipha. Sidon. Now, Sidon has way more development and has earned the Sage spot way more than Tulin has. We see way more of him in Breath of the Wild. He is the right choice to be the Sage, unlike Tulin. I'm sorry. And his character development in Tears of the Kingdom is also great. Like the relationship with, what's her face? Yona? It shows a lot about how he deals with the loss of Mipha and his trauma. And it just gives him more layers, because he wasn't like the most layered in Breath of the Wild. There were layers, of course, because there were moments talking about Mipha, but I feel like in Tears of the Kingdom they've really amped up like the depth in Sidon, which I appreciate. I don't think he's as good as Mipha in Revali though. Don't hate me for it. I'm gonna put him on B. Am I though? See, this is making me want to move Tulin to C. I'm doing it, I'm sorry. I'm moving Tulin to C because Sidon is a better written character and more developed character than Tulin, but I don't think he's on the level of a Revali and a Mipha. So I'm gonna have to move Tulin. I don't feel good about it. This is it. Okay, moving on. Urbosa. Urbosa is my favorite character out of every Zelda game after Link and Zelda. I have to say that. So I'm obsessed with Urbosa. I think she's incredible. She's like everything good in this world. I think her character is amazing. I think her character is also very subtle in a lot of ways, as far as her relationship with the king, her relationship with Zelda's mother, her relationship with Zelda, her relationship with Link is also quite special. I just think she's amazing. The way they constructed her and the way they made her strong in almost every way, but also quite vulnerable in some aspects. Urbosa is S tier. Like, I'm not gonna stall. Like, she to me is just incredible. And if you disagree, you're wrong. Next we have Riju. I love Riju. I think she's a great sage. I think she's very, very much worthy of the title. Very much like Sidon. I think I'm gonna have to put her on B with Sidon though. Let me see how that looks and how that makes me feel. I think that's right. I like Riju more than I like Sidon, but if we're just thinking about how well the character is written and developed, I think they're on the same level. Next we have Daruk. Daruk is adorable and I love him, but he's very shallow in terms of a character. I don't know if that made sense, but I love him and I think he's great, but there's not a lot there to analyze. Like, you can write a whole essay about Revali, about Mipha, even about Sidon. Daruk is just less, if that makes sense. It's very much what you see is what you get type character, and there's not a lot more to him. So I think he's gonna be a C with Tulin. I love him though. Next we have Yunobo. I'm trying to be neutral here. I'm trying to think about how much work there is in the character as far as personality development, and I feel like there's quite a bit. It's just that what exists is not great. It's not the greatest quality of development. Yunobo, he goes from like being scared of everything in Breath of the Wild to being under control, like possessed basically, in Tears of the Kingdom, and then like finding his bravery. But at the end of Breath of the Wild, he also implies that he found the bravery. So it doesn't go that far. Plus he's kind of annoying. I'm gonna put him on D. I think that's fair. It wouldn't feel right having him on the same tier as Tulin and Daruk. Next we have Minoru. She's the only character here that we didn't know before, so it's kind of hard to analyze her against more well-known characters. Even Tulin, even though like his development and screen time in Tears of the Kingdom is so much greater than in Breath of the Wild, you still know him, you know who he is, you have a connection. Minoru is brand new. I have to compare the development with the other ones, even though she's had last time. But that's what the game is, basically. The game of tier making. So I think I might put her on C. Let me see how that makes me feel. I think that's probably right. She's a very stable character. There's not a lot of ups and downs. Like, it's very much like Daruk in the sense that what you see is what you get with her. There aren't many layers to her personality, which is fine. Not everyone has to be super layered, but it makes me feel like she doesn't, like if I put her next to Riju and Sidon, that feels wrong. So I think C is where she should be. And last but not least, we have Zelda, Sage of Time. I mean, duh. To me, the Breath of the Wild / Tears of the Kingdom Zelda is the best Zelda version we've ever gotten. I'm gonna miss it. I know that the next game won't be connected to Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and I understand why, but it makes me sad. I'm really gonna miss this Zelda. Zelda is everything. I love her, and she can do no wrong in my eyes, and I will protect her with my life. So this is the final list. I think I'm okay with it. I think I like it. I always say this, that whenever I make a tier list, it could be different depending on the day and the mood that I'm in, but I think I'm happy with this. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I'm also going to link the tier list in the description in case you want to use it for a video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.